It's inevitable. What goes up must come down. And I'm talking about the US economy. We have seen a ridiculous run in terms of economic growth, job growth. We're seeing insane types of businesses succeed, like designer cupcakes and dog therapy centers and doggy daycares, and I don't know, there's just so many crazy things. There's like a monthly watch delivery program where you get a new watch every month. You know, businesses like that will never succeed in a down economy. And it's going to come soon. There's a lot of experts that predict it's going to happen second half of next year. Other experts say the year after in 2020. But regardless, it's going to happen, and a lot of people are going to lose so much money. And I want to make sure that you are ready for it. Not only ready, but you're ready to take advantage, because that's when so many opportunities open up. What's up, guys? My name is Bradley Jared. Thank you so much for tuning into the Millennials Guide to Real Estate. Look, I have 5 tips for you because I remember the last crash. I remember 2008, just about to graduate college, and no one was getting a job. Unless you're an engineer or a nurse, doctor, you were just struggling. You would take whatever job you could. And a lot of my friends now made their millions back then because that's when there was a lot of opportunity. So here are my 5 tips. Number 1 is you gotta cut your expenses now. It's not fun, but you gotta start living off of 70, maybe 80, but I'd really say 70% of what you're making. That means if you're making 100K a year right now, budget so that you're making 70K. Like, what if you were making 70K? That doesn't mean get into more debt with your credit cards. That means cut down these bigger expenses such as housing, car, food. Those are the big ones where if you just slash that up, you'll save so much more money. Because you know what? When the down economy comes, you're not going to have as much work. Some of you will get laid off. I hope it doesn't happen, but that's just the truth of the matter. If you're in marketing, advertising, a lot of these industries, that's the first thing to go. All these designer little businesses, the watch delivery company, boom, people stop doing that. That's not a necessity. So don't assume you'll be working as much. So you got to cut your expenses, and it's easiest to just start with the biggest expenses. Instead of cutting $10 a week on your grocery bill, think of where you're living. If you're spending $2,000 a month, if you can cut that down to $1,500 a month, then spend all you want at the grocery store, because that's a much bigger chunk. Second thing is that if you're in debt, which I hope you're not, focus on the highest interest rate debt first. And usually that's credit cards. For example, if you have a car payment and it's $300 a month, but it's only 5% interest, a mortgage 5% interest, but a credit card is 16% interest, put all extra money towards getting out of that credit card debt, all right? I'm really good at that. That's something my parents taught me. They do not operate on any debt. I do believe in good debt, such as investing in real estate that is providing positive cash flow. That's good leverage, but most people don't do good leverage. They do bad leverage, which is, let me put that on a credit card. Let me put that $80 dinner on a credit card, and then a year and a half later, you're paying $120 for that dinner you completely forgot about, and you're not even with that person anymore. Come on, that's not smart. I do use a Chase Sapphire Reserve card. That is my favorite credit card. I've had it for years, and as long as you pay it all off, there are perks to using certain cards, but if you do not trust yourself, if you're bad with paying off cards, do not do it. Third thing is you got to start looking for other streams of revenue. And it's because you can't assume your job will be there. And if it is there, you can't assume you'll be making as much, because if every business receives less business, they're going to start making your job from full-time to part-time. They're going to lay off people. They have to make things work to still survive. So that's what's great about 2018. You can make money off of Instagram. You can make money off of YouTube. You can make money as a realtor. If you want to get your real estate license, I have another video that went pseudo viral about how to pass the real estate exam without buying the book. That's what I did. The link is below, but find another stream, because you cannot assume you're going to make that same amount of money off of one stream. A lot of people will get laid off, and it's going to be miserable. The last 2 tips have to do with real estate investing. So tip number 4 is sell off properties that are negative cash flow. If you live in any of the big cities, more than likely you're receiving negative cash flow, meaning if you're paying a mortgage, insurance, maintenance, all these things, it's very tough for rent to cover all of that. Now, if it's negative now, remember that in a down economy, rent is going to be less. You might be making less at your job. You're going to be severely underwater, and the property is going to be worth less. So right now is the time to sell your negative cash flow properties. Even if it's positive cash flow, I would highly suggest considering selling that. For example, I have a positive cash flow property in Tampa, and the price has just gone up so much that it would just be stupid to hold on to now. Because even though if it goes down, I'm fine, the renter's covering everything, there's a couple $100 extra in my pocket each month. I know if I have that money in my pocket, it's going to be worth so much more when that crash happens, and I could buy that property for pennies on the dollar. And that's why my last tip is do not buy any properties now unless you're very confident that it is a deal. Don't buy because you feel like you should. Understand that it might be another 6 months, might be another year, 2 years before the economy crashes, and that property could be worth half of what it is now. Don't be in a rush to buy a property. Make sure it's a deal. Make sure it's the numbers you are safe with, you're secure with, and look at the worst case scenario. Look at, can you afford that property if your spouse loses their job? If the property goes down 40% in value, 50% in value. If it's a long-term investment, some of my friends are looking for places in Miami, LA. If you want to be there for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you'll be fine long-term. But understand that if you want to be in and out in the next couple of years, it is too risky for me. I would not personally do it. I think it's too late to buy a property and to assume that 2 years you could sell it and you'll be okay. I think we're too late in that real estate cycle or the economic cycle to assume that. So those are my 5 tips for not only surviving but thriving in the next crash. This will be the time, guys. Take care of your expenses, take care of your revenue stream, everything now, because we'll be ready to take advantage, gobble up properties for a fraction, and see financial freedom in the next few years. Hope this has helped. Please subscribe to my station here, watch other videos down there, and I will talk to you next time. See ya.